Hello, I'm Erle Montaigue, and this is where I live. And in true Chinese fashion, where I live is also where I teach. This is in fact my own training space. Nowadays I take a group of dedicated, small group of dedicated advanced people as my students and also as my friends and training partners. One of the main areas that we train in our Taiji training is the art of small and large San-Sau. Let me just tell you a little bit about small and large San-Sau. There are two main branches of San-Sau. The one that most people tend to practice comes from the Yang Cheng Fu line, while the other branch comes from his brother, Yang Xiaohu. Now the difference between the two is the same as the difference as between the Yang Cheng Fu form and the Yang Luqian form. Whereas the Yang Cheng Fu form tends to be all slow moving and gently flowing, the Yang Luqian form tends to have bah, very explosive bah, attacking movements in it and leaping kicks. So as a consequence of this, both San-Saus, although they have much the same movements in them, they're done with totally different applications and different mind processes. So with the Yang Xiaohu version, which is the version that I teach and know, we have very explosive movements. Whereas with the Yang Cheng Fu version, which is the one that's been the most proliferated, because it has been translated into English by a man called Chen Yanlin, whereas the Yang Xiaohu version hasn't been translated into English, although there has been a book done on it by a man called Sun Yangho, who was a student of Yang Xiaohu. And I learnt it from a man called Chiang Yu-jian, who was also a student of Yang Xiaohu. So that's the difference. One is explosive and the other is more sort of therapeutic, more dancey-like. We have an A and a B side. You learn the A and the B side. Your partner might learn the B side, you learn the A side, or you both learn the A and the B side, so you can do it as one long solo form, which is very beneficial in itself because you're getting all the fudging explosive movements all the time, and you're also getting the balance and the exercise from doing these forms together. It's quite a long form. And then you can put them together, you and your partner, as a fighting set. Now it's called San-Sau, and San-Sau basically means a style of free hands. Now it's not totally free because every movement in the beginning is set, so each partner knows exactly what's coming next. Although of course you mustn't anticipate what your partner's going to do. You wait for the person to initiate this strike, to block it and then re-attack. Every movement is actually set. However, later on in your training, then you start to put the movements out of sequence. So you might have to do a block and a punch, and you might instead decide to do one of these blocks and a slant flying attack, for instance. And your partner has to parry that and respond with something appropriate for what you're doing to the person. So basically what you're doing in the end is responding to what's happening to you rather than doing a set form that you've learned. There are also three ways to do San-Sau. First of all, you do it the way that people have to learn it. You do it, okay, he blocks, throws a punch, I block, I throw a punch, he blocks, he attacks me, and so on. It's done slowly and with a lot of control. The next way, when you become a little more advanced, is to learn it a little faster and just a little harder with still more control. And the last way, of course, is to really go at it hammer and nails. That is, if I'm going to punch him, I'm really going to punch him. And he's really going to have to block it and re-attack. And he's really going to have to hit me, and so on and so on, and it keeps going like that. But that doesn't come until a much later stage. Only the advanced students get up to that stage, because injury can occur, of course, if your students don't have the control at that stage. So you mustn't go through this too quickly. Because we're dealing with directions here, north, south, east and west, and the four corners, so that no one gets confused, I'm going to start out facing the north. I'll be looking at you, and that will be my north. south, east, and west. Now I'm going to do the whole form teaching you facing those directions. I'm not going to turn around to the camera when I've got my back to the camera and change the direction, because some people can get confused. So when I've got my back to the camera, I'm still just going to keep going, saying, lift your hand up, turn your foot this way, punch this way, and so on, just so that you know exactly the directions. Later, when I finish the forms, I'll then do the whole thing around the other way, and when I get to the parts where I had my back to you before, I'll slow down and go over those bits in particular so that you can see the movements and see what they're doing. But you'll get the directions right first. Then I'll bring one of my senior students in and instructors, and I'll show you how to put the two halves, the two bits, the A and the side bit together to form a fighting set. I'll teach you that, and then we'll just run through it at a medium pace just to show you a little bit of what it looks like.